Hello and welcome to the Travels with Kev podcast, the show that helps get you on track to travel, and I'm your host, Kev. Today's episode, I will talk about the Amtrak Café cars, covering the ins and outs, plus what food and drink you can bring on board for your next trip. And let's get started. The Amtrak Café car appears on all long-distance trains and most regional trains. Short-run trains such as the Hiawatha do not have café cars. If you're curious if your next train will have a café car, click on the train's name on the website, and then scroll down and look under the amenities button, or if you're using the app, click on the train's name and hit the service button, and look for a steaming cup of hot coffee. That will indicate that you have a café car on your train. What can you get from the Amtrak Café car? Offerings can vary from train to train. Most of the West Coast long-distance trains have the same menu. The East Coast trains sometimes vary a little bit. Regional trains, for example, in California will have a different menu than those in the Cascades area. And it also can vary. They vary things out by quarter. They'll try new stuff. You can always find sandwiches, both hot and cold. Usually the hot offerings are hot dogs or hamburgers. I've had paninis on some. Often I like to get the wraps. There's also other entrees. There's a really good mac and cheese tray. They have boneless wings. A few other things like that, but it can vary. The cafe attendant will heat the food for you. And you can also get beverages such as soft drinks. As of recording, Amtrak is using Coke products, hot tea and coffee, plus they have bottled iced coffee, iced tea, juices, adult beverages, including spirits, wine, and beer. Setting your expectations for the Amtrak Café car. Well, I mentioned that you can buy sandwiches and hamburgers. Just remember, they're all prepackaged. What you see is what you get. So they're not made to order for you. And also when it comes to coffee, it's just a brewed cup of coffee. You cannot get fancy espresso drinks on the train. Selections can also vary within the system, and they can run out en route too. So if there's something that you like, make sure that you get it early. Who can use a café car? Any passenger on the train can use a café car. Currently, the dining car is closed to coach passengers, so this could be their only food option, or you can also bring food aboard. If you are a sleeper passenger, the café car is a great place to get a cheese and cracker tray, or maybe some nuts, or some other snacks to enjoy as you go along. All this could change at any point. I will update the blog post that complements this podcast. The link is in the show notes. On long-distance trains, the café car is usually in the middle, or right next to if you're in a sleeper car, you want to go through either the sleeper lounge or the dining car, and it'll be the next car over. If you are a coach passenger, you want to walk towards the middle of the train. The only exception to this rule is if you're on the Lakeshore Limited, the cafe car is on the Boston section, and the Boston section is on the front of the train. And if you're on the Empire Builder, it is on the Portland section. Usually the Portland section is on the back of the train. So just keep that in mind. If you get lost, just ask the conductor or any staff, and they'll direct you. On Midwest regional trains, the cafe car is often either the lead car or the last car, depending on the direction of the train at that time. But it's always on the end. And the cafe car often has a business class section in it. Those cafe cars are split into thirds. 1/3 are tables, 1/3 is the retail space, and the back third is business class. On other trains, the cafe car is in the middle. I believe trains like the San Joaquin, it's been a while since I've been on those, or some of the California trains, trains in the Northeast Corridor, they're towards. Again, there's no one generic spot for these trains. Normally, the cafe car or conductors will announce where the cafe car is. If you get lost, just ask. Who can sit in the cafe car? You can sit in the cafe car, but be respectful of others. If the car is busy, be polite. Don't be a seat hog. The cafe car is, especially during peak times, isn't a place for you to put out all your business papers and take up a whole table while other people are trying to eat too. If you're on an overnight train and you can't sleep in the middle of the night, feel free to take up a whole seat as much as you need. But if it's busy, just be considerate of others. Where can you eat the food from the cafe car? You can eat the food you bought in the cafe car anywhere on the train, at your seat, in the sightseer lounge, if the train has one, in the cafe car, in business class, in your sleeper accommodations. If you bring food on the train, you can only eat that in your accommodations, in the sightseer lounge, or at your seat. Per the FDA, you cannot eat personal food in any of the retail areas. So that'd be on the lower level of the sightseer lounge or in the cafe cars. The exception would be, snacks for little kids. What food can I bring on the train? You can bring whatever food you want within reason on the train. Personal request, I just ask that you don't bring anything like egg salad or anything too pungent. Just be considerate of your other passengers. Amtrak cannot store food for you, nor can they heat it. So you're responsible for keeping your food cool if it needs to be cooled. And it is not recommended that you bring like frying pans, electric frying pans or griddles or anything like that on board. It's actually kind of dangerous because the trains sway and stuff, and people also don't want to smell your cooking food because more than likely aren't sharing with the whole car. But you can consume the food that you brought on board and the beverages in your coach seat or business class seat or your sleeping accommodations. Listen carefully to this one. You can bring alcohol on the train, but you cannot consume it unless you are in a sleeper accommodation. Let me repeat that. You can bring alcohol on the train, but leave it in your bag. You cannot consume it while you are on the train unless you're in your sleeping accommodations. If you are caught breaking this rule, or if you get out of hand, you might find yourself getting off the train early and meeting some new friends with badges and taken to a nice, secure hotel. And more than likely have a few tickets. What makes for a good snack for you to bring on the train? The snacks you want to bring are very subjective. For me, I like to bring the seeable snack mixes, or even Pringles, something that you can store and it's not going to make a mess. Packaged snacks, granola bars, fruit snacks, beef jerky, that sort of thing. I also bring a water bottle. You can refill the water bottles on board. What do I personally get from the cafe car when I travel? Sometimes as I roll through the countryside, I like to go to the cafe car and purchase a bottle of wine and some cheese and crackers. It's fun. But the thing to consider, too, when you're in a sleeper, all your meals are part of your room price. And currently, Amtrak is offering complimentary soft drinks from the dining car or sleeping lounge for sleeper car passengers, plus an alcoholic beverage with dinner. So if you do want one or more alcoholic beverages, you are going to have to purchase it either from the cafe car or sometimes you can buy them from the sleeper lounge. Last thing to remember, if you aren't a sleeper and you want something from the cafe car, you are responsible for the cost. When I'm in coach, I often enjoy some of the packaged sandwiches. I like the hot dogs and the burgers. A sweet roll and donut holes and a cup of coffee often make a great breakfast, or sometimes I'll get the breakfast sandwich just to get those morning hunger pains under control. How much do things cost? I like to tell people the prices are about convenience store prices. Regional trains often have a meal deal where you can save some money, where if you get an entree, chips, and beverages, you can save $1 or $2. If you want to see some of the items that you can get from Amtrak Cafe cars and their prices, I urge you to go to the Travels with Kev website, travelswithkev.com, search for Café, or there's a link in the description, and I have links to all the menus that I can get, and I try to keep that as current as I can. So the takeaway, a visit to the cafe car is a great way to stretch your legs and get a treat. Figure out your budget before you ride so you know about how much money you want to spend on board and what food you should bring. Be aware that the train may run out of your favorite selection during the journey, so have a plan B. And be aware that menu items change all the time. Also remember that you can eat what you purchase from the cafe car at your seat or accommodations. And remember, do not bring food that you did not buy on the train in any food car. Also remember, do not drink alcohol you brought on board unless you're in your sleeping accommodations. I have seen people get pulled off the train for this. Thank you for spending some time with me today, and don't forget to visit travelswithkev.com. If you find value in my work, consider helping this endeavor grow. And the links are some ways that you can help support and give value to others. Thanks again for listening today, and I hope you have a great day. See you out on the rails, and safe travels. Bye.